Welcome to another episode of Trek in the Valley, the non-encyclopedic Star Trek The Next Generation recap and rewatch podcast, where every week two guys in California, used to be the San Fernando Valley, now they do it remotely. One still lives in the valley, so technically the fucking name of the show is accurate to an extent.
Yes.
But I'm Adam Ordal Quinnell. I'm here with my co-host with the me-host.
Hey everybody, it's Al Hirt. What's up?
Not much, Al. How have you been since the last time I saw you?
It's been good. Pretty quick.
It's been, yeah, man. Good little break.
I just honestly lately, I don't know, it's kind of rough because I've just been going down this deep rabbit hole about Iran and everything and all that conflict and
Oh yeah,
shit,
that's what
and
this
it's
episode's
just
about.
A constant nightmare.
We're taking a break from talking about Star Trek for this week to get into what we think about the Iran-Israel
for sure. Yeah, that's definitely
U.S.
introductory
conflict
for me.
That's so buckle up. I'm going to be playing some old interviews from PBS with Netanyahu. But no,
explain those next week.
So yeah, things. I'm honestly probably doing a little bit better than the last time we spoke, even though it was just a little while ago. I'm 20% more awake, I think.
That's good.
And I'm invigorated by how much I hate the fucking antagonist of this episode we're going to talk about in a minute.
I'm neutral. I mean, which antagonist though? There's two. Right?
Maddox.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess the judge could be considered an antagonist, but you know that she's going to come around. But so we'll get to that. But is there anything that you didn't cover when we were catching up earlier?
I mean, just going down that rabbit hole and just listening to a bunch of different podcasts. It was funny though. I found another sort of guru guy, but it's funny because it's now I'm aged to a point where I'm mature enough to be skeptical about everything.
Yeah, you should
and
do
this guy is he sounds so nice, and it's very Jordan Peterson-esque of basic pop psychology of clean up your room.
Ugh.
You know,
Jordan
maybe
Peterson-esque.
go do a hobby, get some sports, and go outside.
Get your dick milked while you're wrapped up like a cocoon.
God, I never thought about it that way. You know, it's that kind of vibe. But I guess what's nice about this guy, his name's Scott Galloway.
But so he's not a white supremacist
CEO.
Like Jordan Peterson though, because you kind of said
he hasn't
you
fall
kind of
off
said
the fucking wagon.
Yeah, you sort of said he's like Jordan Peterson, he talks about clean your room. It's that's not what I remember Jordan Peterson for talking about at this point.
No.
Not the clean your room, clean your race, I think is what he's talking about at this point. He's a fucking maniac. So who are you? Who's your new guru though that you're telling me about?
I know he's sort of debunked too, because oh
my god,
it's funny because it's what
are you doing?
It's diet, where
are you joining a cult?
He's giving out legitimate advice, but then it's framed other people. He goes on right-winger podcasts,
dude,
and try to convince them.
When you moved to San Diego,
comes from.
You moved to San Diego, I knew you're gonna join a cult. You're gonna get into one of these new age things. You're gonna fall in. You're gonna fall in with the wrong crowd down there in San Diego.
That's not gonna happen. I just find it so fascinating that it's there's people that are still hustling this grift after me seeing it for 10, 15 years on the internet.
There's people who do Mary Kay Cosmetics still, dude. There's people who fucking. All of the original MLMs are still fucking cooking underneath the layers and layers of all the other LLMs.
Exactly.
It's fucking bananas,
it's interesting because this is why he's famous. This Scott Galloway guy.
Scott Galloway.
He's
okay, cool.
On record, I'm being I was incredibly lucky. I was born in the 1960s in California as a white male. I've all this privilege, and this is how I've ended up doing all these things. And I've been on all these boardroom meetings and all these things. And it's him kind of saying he's putting his neck on the line by being like,
so he's a
the
consultant.
boomers fucked up.
So he's a business consultant guy.
Yeah. And it's like he's gotten really famous from like teaching at NYU for marketing or something. But it's interesting because it's like he goes on this right-wingers podcast, and this guy's like a total asshole, this right-winger. He's just like...
Was this Gavin Newsom's podcast? You said he went on a right-wingers podcast. I assume you were talking about right-winger fucking Gavin Newsom. Continue.
No, and so then the guy just goes off on like, nobody cares about men and da-da-da, and like, you know, young men have all these issues and da-da-da-da-da. And Scott Galloway's like... Well, I feel like my message is for young people in general. I don't really understand how like this and that, like, you know, people keep trying to convert him and falling into these traps and stuff. But it's just like, it's funny how everybody's trying to frame all these issues in different ways and somehow make money at the end. And it's just so weird that it's like, the mask has been pulled off plenty of times at this point for people, and like everybody just kind of seems on their own when it comes to codes and morals, and Atomic Habits has already been sold and done, you know.
They don't need to wear the Dio mask from JoJo. They just are Dio's face, all of them now, you know. So Scott Galloway, was it? This is a self-help guy you're endorsing. You think that
I'm not endorsing him.
You should do everything he says and buy his products and join his news group. We should be on his Discord. Funny. It's like, do you want to join his Discord server with me?
No, but that's when it gets more meta, because I'm listening to another podcast called Deconstructing the Gurus.
Podcast. You're deconstructing the gurus. Lay it on me.
And these people were listening to Scott Galloway talk to another person, and they were like breaking down point by point, like how weird and niche his arguments are. Like he was saying, you know, not everybody could be a CEO. And it's really funny that, again, at this point, I guess people need to hear that, you know, like, there's just been this undeniable grift of like, you're the best. You could do anything. If you sign up for my class in 30 days, you can do this, you know?
Yeah, but like that's like other rubes. Like you and I will be CEOs. Like we're going to make it. Sure. But yeah, other people, I get like the regular people. Yeah, definitely. But
that's what's just, I don't know. It just feels so funny because it's like, now I'm at this age where I can just see the shenanigans from beginning to end. And it's just funny to seeing this guy navigate these weird spaces. And it's like, why? Yeah, you know? Yeah. I have yet to see, though, Louis Theroux's Into the Manosphere documentary. And I really wanted to watch that, too. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It's a good documentary, a good thing to watch. Have you ever watched Elephant Graveyard's videos?
Dude.
There's did you watch
go off.
Yeah, dude, that Elephant Graveyard video about the white supremacists in Joe Rogan's sphere and shit. Yeah. That stuff is so good. See,
it's funny because he frames it as a joke, but then it's like the more it goes on, it's like, oh wait, these all correlate. Oh wait, like, dude, he's kind of making a point here, you know?
Dude, and Elephant Graveyard is
it's like
brilliant.
It's like, tense and scary.
and the video he did before that about the Burn All the Boats, the special, oh my god, dude, he's
they're just
so good.
Yeah.
Well, they're not just entertaining. They're also incredibly informative because regular people don't catch all that stuff about how they're all white supremacists and shit. But yeah, so good catching up. I'm not a big self-help guy so much, but I count my calories, I guess. But yeah, so good catching up. Let's talk about the first segment of our podcast, which every week is, of course... What does Al remember? All right, Al. What do you remember about? I'm doing the Mandarin. What? America. He goes, America. And so what do you remember? Every week we do this, by the way. If you're a new listener, we have a little segment. We ask Al what he remembers about something that we've watched in the past. This week, Al, I'm asking, it's a big one. Should be a slam dunk. Not trying to set you up to fail or anything.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Star Trek, the original series, Arena? The episode Arena. Season 1, episode 19, Arena.
This was season 1?
It was season 1,
this
indeed.
Was a banger.
It was indeed a banger.
They're zipping around out
there.
And then they run into, it's not a wall, but they run into an alien. And he's like, hey, I want to challenge you or some shit like that. And then Bing, Kirk ends up on a
probe.
planet.
You're close. They find a probe.
It's a probe. That's right.
And then they chase the probe.
And then the probe beams Kirk on a random planet.
Yeah.
He fights that famous snake reptile looking thingy.
What? Hold on.
Our favorite shtick, he creates a gun and shoots him in the face.
Yes. So I have man, you pretty much nailed it, but I have a few questions. I want to drill down a little bit in this episode of What Does Al Remember? Do you remember, so it's not just a probe. So the probe leads them to this area, but before Kirk even beams away or whatever, or like, who's the big ominous alien that does all this? Do you remember what that race of like omniscient, omnipresent aliens are called?
No, but I figured the purpose of the probe, wasn't it like an edge of space thing?
It was, yeah,
and
it was like
criteria for like whether this person or race
if you get this far
in the universe.
It's basically their first contact test.
Yes.
If your race makes it this far, etc. But they were called the Metrons.
The Metrons.
And I'm going to need one more thing from you, because you remembered that that Kirk makes a gun with a tube that he finds and some rock salt and shit, right?
Yeah.
And also the crew of the Enterprise is watching him do this. It's like it's early reality show, competition show kind of thing, like Dungeon Crawler Carl, the books that we read, Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's basically based on this episode where it's like you're watching an interstellar TV show about alien races fighting each other, and it's real. And so you can't give me snake-like, alien-like creature, man. You got to give me the name of one of the most famous alien races that's not a Klingon or a Romulan or a Homino.
Oh, wait, doesn't it end up being like that twink, like sparkly alien?
That's the Metron,
or was that
yes.
Another one?
That's the Metron at the end, but I'm talking about the reptilian alien guy.
Oh, I have no clue.
It rhymes with your favorite thing in the world, that thing you're addicted to, porn. It rhymes with porn. You know, that thing that you spend all your time and money on. No, it's the Gorn, buddy. Gorn. And no, I know you don't have a pornography addiction. That was a joke. It was a joke.
Gorn?
The Gorn. Don't you remember the Gorn? Gorn.
No.
The Gorn.
I just remember Kirk running around and being like, phosphorus. Where's phosphorus?
So much great rubber suit fighting from the Gorn.
The Gorn, yes.
It is,
and then he like picks up some rock from a mountain and throws it at Kirk.
Yeah, and then Kirk tries to drop a rock on him.
There's no B plot though, right? Other than like
just the Metrons
Spock
are testing
them.
Out. Yeah. It's really they just watch Kirk do the plot of the episode basically, and they're like, man, I hope he does it right. I hope he doesn't get killed. They're like, behind you, Kirk.
Would need a Spock goes, oh, he would need a long tube. Okay, he found a long tube. Okay, he would need phosphorus. And then he would need this other chemical and this other rock salt.
Oh, he's making a rocket. He's making a blunderbuss.
And then he made like a flint.
Yeah, and then he's lighting it.
Shit.
The Gorn's walking up to him like, I'm the Gorn. And then he's like, clack, clack, clack. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was very, this kind of set up the whole like, oh shit, omnipresent alien takes over plot, but in turn, we learn a lesson.
And I feel like they've done that already before this. I'd have to look at the line.
think so.
I feel like something happened, but this is not the first time because the Metrons are so powerful. They like hold the Enterprise and the Gorn ship in place and all that.
Like you
bullshit.
said, like Spock and the crew are pretty helpless just watching Kirk. I think it's like everybody goes, "Oh my God, what is Kirk gonna do?" And Spock's like, "No, he's got this.
He got this. He's Kirk. Kirk. Well, I'll tell you what. Good job. That's
Thank you.
what Al remembered. Did you have one more thing you wanted to mention?
No, just I remember that episode being very. I don't know. It was like it's always regarded as like just silly and cheesy and
really. I
campy
thought it
and
was like
stuff.
regarded as like one of the great episodes of sci-fi television. But I guess that's
think
just me.
it's
I guess I'm campy.
It's a big deal because
I guess I'm campy. I don't.
No, I felt like it was a big deal because it was like a fight, and it's kind of like that first. Not first, man. I'm being a dumbass. I'm sure there's plenty of iterations of it, but it's like a nice iteration of like how sci-fi can save the day and how knowing science and chemistry can save your life.
Yeah, you got to know where to find water. You never know when you might need to find water with like a dowsing rod. You know what a dowsing rod is? Really? It's like, so have you ever seen like, it's like when you need to find water, you find a stick that's like a forked stick with a straight stick that comes off it, and you like give yourself up to the electromagnetic force of the earth, and like it like points you towards water or something. I think it's like witchy stuff. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
Galloway made.
Yes, right. So this week, this is episode 155 of our podcast. Holy shit. Unbelievable. Who would have thunk? This week we're discussing season 2, episode 9 of Star Trek The Next Generation, A Measure of a Man. And now this is a top-rated episode on IMDb. This has the little bullet, little sticker next to it. Top rated. This was written by Melinda M. Snodgrass, Leonard Moldenau, and Scott Rubenstein. It was directed by Robert Shearer. Man, I'll tell you, directors named Robert. Between this guy, Robert Bowman, and I think there's another Bob or something, they're really eating on this series. Directors named Robert. This aired on February 11th, 1989. And the synopsis from Paramount Plus is very straightforward. When Data refuses to be disassembled for research purposes, Picard is enlisted to defend his rights in court. Pretty straightforward. It is definitely a courtroom episode.
Yeah, but it's like a spiraling out of control situation episode 2.
I fucking love it, dude. And I think that it was like, here's the thing. I feel like it shouldn't have gotten this far. Like they should know by now that you can't ask Data to submit to be disassembled. And they kind of cover that. And so here we go. So basically the cold open, they're en route to a new starbase for a crew rotation. And they're going to they're experiment dumping. They're like dumping a bunch of stuff off. And then it's the gang playing poker. Is this the first time we see them playing poker? Because this becomes a trope
This
on
is
the
like
show.
A really big deal.
But it's no Picard.
Not yet.
Who do we have around the poker table here?
It's Riker, O'Brien, Data,
Pulaski,
Geordi, and then Pulaski. Yeah,
Geordi. And they are playing cards, and it is a very much like Data, because Data knows like all the permeations of possible hands and stuff, right? But Riker bluffs him. And Data's like, why did you gamble when you had no cards? And he's like, that's the game, baby. And
O'Brien is like, time to pluck a pigeon. It's like, I think that's kind of like a term for
a sucker's born. Yeah, they're going to get him. They're gonna card shark him. O'Brien's like a superstitious poker guy too. I think that's funny. Irish people being superstitious is funny.
And also, it kind of goes to show how, like, you know, playing a game logically and straight by the rules doesn't always work out in your hand or in your favor, you know?
Well, that's part of it. Part of it is the mind game, you know? And that's what they're trying to foreshadow it as, like, that's the soul. The bluff is the human component, the living sentience that supposedly Data doesn't have, right? But he's learning. We definitely know. Pulaski gets a chance to be a little racist, but she's coming around. She's like, oh, Data doesn't understand bluffing. He's just a machine. And then we cut to Picard sitting on a space station sipping tea, which I think is a pretty funny cut. And he sees a beautiful fellow captain named Philippa Lajoie, and she is super sassy. And we find out that she's basically, you know, in DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck had that diamond lady who was his Goldie, who was his girlfriend, who also would like steal from him and stuff. Like they had like a love-hate relationship. I think that's what Picard's deal is with Captain Philippa Lajoie. And so Act 1 starts with Philippa Lajoie saying she's a captain again, which means a few things.
She's the captain of the station, though, right?
No, she's the captain of an organization of Navy lawyers who have an office at this station, but they don't have. Okay. Maybe she is the captain of the station, but they don't have the station up and running yet.
Right,
with all she doesn't have her whole staff. And I think it's funny that there's a JAG office. Like remember that show JAG? That's like a dad's show. Like the JAG is like their naval. It's basically Law and Order for the Navy. And it's on TNT or some shit.
That's like incredibly, I guess it's like wanting to work in internal affairs.
Yeah,
for the police or something. It's like, that's
remember
riveting.
Remember when we were stupid kids and we thought that like internal affairs, like the cops would be like, oh, internal affairs is up our ass, and it's like internal affairs is shitty and corrupt. ACAB includes internal affairs, but like internal affairs was just trying to make sure that you weren't killing people, and the cops were like, we gotta kill people the way we want to, man.
But then even then, it's like either, at least on TV or from what I've seen, they're either incredibly hard asses that like can't see either other way, or they're incredibly lax, which leads to
the most corrupt. Yeah. So now,
either way, they're pretty corrupt.
Yeah, and Picard and Captain Lajoie have this really like, it's like sexually charged, but also he hates her because she's the one who court-martialed Picard following him losing the Stargazer. And Picard says she left Starfleet because of her stubborn pride, and she's like, that's not why. And he goes, I hope you learned a little wisdom along the way. And I think that the actress who played Lajoie is really giving on, in a lot of these scenes, she's giving like Jane Lynch vibes. Amanda McBroom is her name. JAG Captain Philippa Louvois. She did great. So Picard shows the Admiral and some other people around, and it's the Admiral and this guy Maddox, and they get to the bridge of the Enterprise, and the Admiral just kind of drops this fucking bullshit bomb on Picard. Dude. He's like, yeah, so anyway, Commander Maddox is here to work on your android. Please take care of him. And Data's a bit.
And then it's just like, it's not in private. It's on a bridge in front of everybody, and everyone's like turning around like.
I thought we settled this. I thought we settled that Data was, even though he's a robot, he's a guy. Like he's a guy.
And it's just like, someone built him. He attended Starfleet. There was like plenty of other steps that like he had to have gone through in order to even be on the Enterprise. Like that's why I'm so confused.
Well, but that's just it, Al. Good segue, man. You're good at this fucking podcast, dude. I love it because they cover this. Data is a bit salty with Commander Maddox, which is funny because Data is not supposed to have emotions, right? But he can be a little catty. Yeah. So Commander Maddox is the guy who opposed Data's entry to Starfleet. So of all the people on his committee or whatever, this one guy was like, I opposed his entrance to Starfleet. Why? Because he isn't a real guy.
Yeah, he didn't call him a sentient being.
He's a robot guy. That doesn't count.
It shows from the get-go, too. Even in Starfleet Academy, there was always people denying his existence. I don't know. It's just really awkward, especially for people like to treat you. I mean, it's terrible. It's like for people to treat you like property and
you
talk
wouldn't want to
like
be treated like
there.
a thing. You wouldn't want to be treated like a ice box, an ice chest. So the thing is, this Maddox guy is a bit of a turd because he is a roboticist, right? And his whole plan, he's been studying Soong's whole deal, like in all of Soong's work,
Since
right?
the moment he saw Data. It's so creepy.
And he's such a fucking gross. He keeps, as you said, keeps referring to Data as it, but he basically wants to put Data's brain into a experimental positronic brain so that he can then disassemble and dissect Data's body to learn how he works and then put Data's brain back in the body, right? And Data's like, oh, so you've solved, this is such a great little tete-a-tete.
Yes.
Data goes, oh, so you solved the positronic relay issues? And Maddox is like, well, I mean, I think we basically have it figured out. And he's like, what do you mean basically have it figured out? This is my whole fucking life you're talking about. And then Data says his research can't handle this experiment. Picard says he can't allow Data to do it. And then Maddox says, I wanted to do this the easy way, but I'm transferring Data to Starbase 173 under my command. And he just keeps calling Data it, and I fucking hate it. You know, we've been dealing with Pulaski's roboticism, robo-racism this whole season, and then to meet somebody who's like bonkers more racist about Data than even she is, that's fucking crazy, right?
Well, and even like his end result doesn't really, I don't know. I always thought, especially if you're trying to like research something, I get it, like breaking something apart and like seeing it piece by piece helps, but it's like, did this Dr. Soong not write anything down?
That's what they say. And also you can't bet it
Are
on...
there not holographs?
Right?
Holodecks?
You could definitely have a holographic Data and dissect it. So Data says he won't submit to the procedure, and Picard is like, I have to consider Starfleet's interests. It's like, no, you don't. And Data even says, aren't Lieutenant LaForge's eyes superior to biological eyes? And he's like, Picard's like, yes. And he goes, why aren't all the officers required to replace their eyes with implants? And he goes, it's because I'm not human that they're fucking doing this to me. And Picard's like,
yes,
I'll think about it.
Trying to tackle this like precedent too of like, even Maddox's end goal doesn't even make sense. It's not even great. It's like, oh, I just want to make more Datas forever. And they're like, I mean, I guess.
He's just like these dumb AI bros in that he doesn't even understand how it works. He just wants to copy it.
That's what's so good about that senior staff scene though, between Riker, Picard, and Data, because Data's like, so you figured out those electron connections, right? For the positronic brain, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So you
and
figured
Riker's
out so
like,
I don't die?
You're being vague.
Yeah.
Like you're being purposely vague.
Yeah, Riker's like, Maddox, you don't know what you're doing. And so basically he says that he can refuse to undergo the procedure, but he can't refuse the transfer. It's not a justifiable risk. And so she says basically, so Picard consults his judge frenemy, Lavoie. And she says Data can resign, and Picard's like, oh, well, fuck me. You're the JAG officer for this sector. I had no choice but to come to you, and you have no solution for me, but Data can resign. And then it cuts to Data packing his shit, and you think he's packing for his transfer. Even in my notes, it says packing for his transfer. And God, this Maddox guy fucking walks right into Data's room and just starts going through his shit. I hate him. I hate this piece of shit so much.
Yeah, he gives him some like shitty like play quote or something. And he's like, do you like just analyze these words, or do you feel them? Do you understand them? And Data's like, is it not customary to ask someone's permission before they just barge in?
Yeah, this guy sucks. Yeah, before entering an individual's quarters. And he's just like, dude's just like, I thought that maybe we could talk this out. And it's like, you can't talk to this guy. But
What
this
are you
is
talking about.
this is where Data lays it down, right? And the guy's like, Maddox is like, your memories and your knowledge will remain intact. And Data's like, look, dude, yes, take a game of chance. Like, think about poker, right? I've absorbed all the info on it, but I still got my ass kicked. The reality bore little resemblance to the real world, or the reality bore little resemblance to my research. And the important thing is Data says, yes, I can have the memory of a thing, but that doesn't have the indefinable emotion that I attach to it. I don't think about it just as ones and zeros. You know, there is, even though I don't have emotions, there's an essence that must be preserved, motherfucker. There's an ineffable quality to memory, Data says. And then the bomb drops. Data says, I've resigned. Eat shit, Maddox, you fucker. I'd rather quit. And this Maddox guy in my notes, I say he's like 10 times as racist as Pulaski.
Yeah, there's actually a really good quote too that Data says where he's like, I'm a culmination of a dream. I'm not ego. I'm not like just some substance. If I am destroyed by your experiments, something unique, something wonderful will be lost. Gone. I cannot permit that. I cannot, I have to protect this dream.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, it's a noble thing. I don't know. It's like, it's gone on so far and so long. And for an android to say something like that, it's like, I don't know. It'd be kind of cruel to just pull the plug and end it now.
And then we cut to fucking Act 3 with Maddox trying to convince Picard that Data's not a person. And I keep trying to say human, but he's not human, but he is a person. And, and Data's a valued member of my crew. He's an outstanding officer. And then it comes out, this guy just wants to steal Sung's work to make an army of Datas. He says,
it's
we can sacrifice all these Datas. We just want Datas to go out onto a minefield.
Yeah, it's like not even noble, his reasoning.
Yeah, we don't have to sacrifice humans to explore the universe anymore. We can create a new race of people that becomes important later. And then Data's like, Picard says Data has rights. And this Maddox guy, he says, what about my rights to not have my research and my life's work fucked up because of Data's personhood status? What the hell? And Starfleet doesn't ignore regulations, and Data has rights whether he likes it or not. Well,
yeah, he's like still in Starfleet though, and every Starfleet individual technically has rights.
Yeah, but then the Maddox throws it down. He says, "Would you let the computer, the Enterprise computer, would you let that computer refuse a retrofit?" And it's just like,
but it's
boom,
like an eye roll moment,
boom, bomb drops, Data isn't property, bitch. And
it's like they just keep, I don't know, they keep trying to steel man this argument that Data isn't a human, but as they go on, it's just like, I don't know, this whole episode's like teetering and tottering around how human Data is, really.
Yeah, he's a person. He's not.
They keep
he's
listing
sentient.
reasons off about how he's not an android. I don't know.
That's the structure of the episode, because it's like we hear all the evidence of why he's not a person, and then fucking he drops it on him. Picard drops it on the end, but we go right from there to Data is missing the point of unwrapping presents. He's like very carefully unwrapping a going away present. And I do like the idea that Pulaski gave him a book called The Dream of Fire. It's by like a Klingon mythology guy. And that reminds me of Prometheus. And it's Data is basically the Prometheus fire of fucking cybernetics being handed down from Sung. And Geordi is super sad. And Data says, hey, life is rarely fair. Life is rarely fair, right?
And Geordi's like, that didn't make me feel better, though.
Yeah, right?
I like that honesty, too.
Yeah, they're always...
I mean, it's
Geordi's
such a
straight
trope,
shooter.
Just
Geordi,
be like, life ain't fair. Oh, shucks.
Geordi is a straight shooter,
nah,
man.
Fuck this. This sucks.
We do get some very cool HD remastered space station shots, and then we get to Judge Lejoie telling Maddox and Picard that Data is Starfleet property. And then Picard goes, well, what if I challenge that? And she goes, well, that would be really difficult because I'd have to convene a hearing and I need a skeleton crew. I only have interns to push around. And he's like, well, this is Data's fucking life, you shit sucker.
And she goes, and Picard goes like, it's your job anyways. Like, don't you want to do this? Like, you're going to have to go to court at some point, Miss Lawyer, Miss Judge.
And it's about time we fucking figure this thing out with Data now and forever. And here's...
Seriously, once and for all, to like finally end this annoying...
question about Data's status as a thing or a person thing.
Well, it just keeps repeating over and over again and throughout the episodes, and it's just really annoying.
And then, so what's the big twist here, Al? How does she throw a curveball at them? Picard is going to represent Data and prove that Data is a person, but they need a opposing counsel. How do they figure that out?
For some reason, I guess Riker joins Picard when like Picard's complaining about, the rights and all that. The judge right then and there, she decides, well, I guess first officers can also be, provide legal counsel.
Yeah,
therefore, Riker...
In the regulations,
you'll be the opposing lawyer.
Yeah, in the regulations, it says that the first officer does the opposing side, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It might be like military stuff that I don't understand, but it seems like bullshit. So now, and it's like, and she says, Riker, if I sense that you're trying to throw this fight and let us prove that Data is human, I'm going to drum you out of the Federation. Do your duty, do your duty, do your duty. Picard and Philippa are both like, do your duty. Picard and Philippa looking at each other, and she's like, you do your duty. And Picard's like, you do your duty. You do your duty.
Yeah,
you do your duty.
It's a lot of like...
doing your duty.
Well, if you're going to make this a pain in the ass, I'm going to make it into a big pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass all the way, motherfucker. I'm Picard, and I'm never going to stop. Now, Act 4 begins with Picard and Data, right, in Picard's office, and Picard says, Data, look, Captain Lejoie issued a ruling, your property, you cannot resign. And Data just says, well, I hope Maddox isn't the huge fucking loser that I thought he was, because I guess he's in charge of my existence now. Picard's like, whoa, wait, no, I challenged the shit at least, dude. I'm gonna represent you.
Court.
I'm gonna represent you against Riker. And Data's like, what? And then it cuts to Riker doing his research, and like earlier I wanted to mention, Picard immediately went into lawyer mode and was like, pull up all files related to Commander Data. Then Riker is now doing his research, and he pulls up Data's research specs, and Jonathan Frakes does some really good face acting here. He's looking at the research specs. They're basically like an x-ray of Data's roboguts, and he sees something in Data's chest, and he's like excited about it at first, like, I've got it, but then he goes, oh no, I've got it. Like, he's worried. He's worried that he's found Data's undoing, right? And
you did too good of a job.
Yes. And in court for the first time, they refer to the android known as Data, like the artist formerly known as Prince. I thought that was pretty funny. So Riker's got his, he says, I'm only going to call one guy, and it's, or one thing per, I can't say what I'm going to call because that kind of gives away the ghost, but I'm going to get Commander Data up here. Data verifies his identity, and Picard is like, and the computer starts reading Data's record, because that's what it does whenever you identify yourself in a Starfleet court. It's like, you are the commander of this. You got this award on Delta Ceti 5 for kicking some fucking ass and what have you. And Riker tries to skip through Data's record, and Picard goes, no. You read his record, because that's one of the big things to Picard, is that proves that Data is human because he's done a job like humans do. He's a good first officer. He's a good district manager. He must be a person. And he goes, Commander, what are you? He goes, an android, which is... Data gives the Webster's definition. Dr. Soong...
He's like, no. simpler.
Right? And then Dr. Zoom, more basic than that. What was he? Data says a human. Basically, Riker says, okay, what's your storage speed? And Data says he's crazy storage speed. And that's when, and then Riker's like, basically Riker's proving that Data's a machine by being like, you were made by Zoom. And he brings him an iron bar.
Yeah.
And he goes, bend this bar. Picard objects, right?
Yeah, he does.
But this is hilarious because Picard says, come on, there are plenty of races that have mega strength. Instead of referring to it as superhuman strength, he refers to it as mega strength. And then Riker asks for the commander's for permission to inspect the commander's hand. And basically Riker says Data's the physical manifestations of the dreams of a man. Its purpose is to serve human needs and interests. And then he goes through all of this cold shit about Data, and he says, and now that man will be shut off. And Riker just turns Data off.
Yeah,
and he's like, Pinocchio is broken, its strings have been cut. And then Maddox smirks like the little turd huffer that he is, man. And he's like, oh, we got him.
Mic drop.
You can't switch off a person. If he was really squeaky chair. If he was really a person, you wouldn't be able to just fucking turn him off. Boom. Act 5.
It's just like, you can see Riker and he feels awful about
He feels awful that
he
he's so
did.
good. He's like, I'm so good at this. I fucking hate it. And then it cuts to Act 5 where Picard and Guinan are talking in 10 forward. And Picard's like, that was Riker kicked our fucking ass in there. It was devastating. Picard's like, he almost made me think I didn't think Data. He made me think I wasn't a person.
Her little old sage moment too.
yeah. And honestly, Guinan being magical black woman in space is kind of funny. Picard's like, Guinan, I have to send people on dangerous missions, and this is sending Data is just any dangerous mission. And then Guinan says, Data's bullshit is because they will be exploited and made into generations of disposable people. Like that when
she raises her eyebrow like, whoa, multiple generational
and then Picard goes, wait,
abuse of people,
hold on, you're talking about slavery. And then Guinan says, that's a little harsh, but, and she's like winking at him like she's breaking her cheek, winking.
Seriously.
The issue isn't
all disposable. You don't have to think about their welfare. You don't have to think about how they feel. It's like, I don't know, end results of AI and stuff. It's just like robo abuse.
And so the thing is,
why wouldn't they do it, right?
Yeah, the issue isn't that they're property. The issue is whether they're a person or not. Like, and whether or not owning a person is a thing you can do, basically. And so Picard says, we can't deny that Data's a machine. That would be stupid. The question's irrelevant. And I love Patrick Stewart's acting. It's really like his theater acting comes through in this final summation. He says, we too are machines, but we got like blood instead of a machine in our chest. Riker says Data was created by humans. We don't deny that. Children are created from the building blocks of their parents' DNA. He calls Data back to the stand, and you can tell shit's about to get fucking real, dude. And then Picard says, hey, look at this stuff that you were packing. Look at your medals. What logical purpose does it serve, keeping those medals? What does he tell him, Al?
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because Data's like, I don't know why I kept them. I mean, I guess I like them. Oh, hey, isn't that vanity?
Yeah, he kind of even questions himself. He's like, oh, is that vanity?
Picard's like, why do you have this book? Why do you like this? And
it's a gift
he's
from
like,
you.
It's entertaining. I guess I do get entertained.
Well, he says it's a reminder.
Really
it's a reminder gift of their friendship and service. And this is when Picard brings out the 3D portrait of Tasha Yar. And he says, you don't have any portraits of any other officers. Why do you have this one? And Data's like, I'd rather not answer that. I promised her. And he's like, I think Tasha would want you to break that promise if it means she's going to save your fucking life, dude. And this is when Data says, she was special to me, sir. We were intimate. Boom! Like,
yeah, and the judge was like,
Philippa Lavoie's like, what? And Picard says, no further questions. Riker has no questions for Cross. And then Picard pulls a fucking rabbit out of his hat and he calls Maddox as a hostile witness. And I just thought, like, the Heath Ledger Joker, here we go. Because Maddox is like, yeah, I'm an expert. And this is when he's basically like, what's the difference between us and Data? What's required of sentience? What do you remember any of the three things?
No.
Intelligence, self-awareness, and consciousness. And then Picard says, prove that I'm sentient. And he goes, that's absurd. We know you're sentient. And he's like, how? How do you know I'm sentient and Data's not? And he goes, because you're self-aware. And Picard says, okay, let's do intelligence first. Is Data intelligent? Yes, he's intelligent. Well, there you go. That's off the thing. And then he says, but what about self-awareness? Why am I self-aware? And the guy says, because you know your own existence and actions, you're aware of yourself and your ego. And Picard's like,
you think, therefore you am.
Right?
Yeah.
And Picard's like, Picard asks Data questions to prove all that shit. And he's like, it's his right, his status to choose his life. And it seems like Data wouldn't be arguing. Data wouldn't be arguing that he's a person if he wasn't aware that he's a fucking person. And then he goes, Maddox, do you like Commander Data? And he goes, I don't know him well enough to know that. He goes, I admire his engineering. And he goes, you've studied him forever and you want to take him apart. And he's like, how many more do you want to make? And he goes, thousands. There's no limit. And Picard says, so isn't that a race? And won't we be judged by how we treat that race? Now tell me, what is Commander Data? And he goes, a machine. What if he meets the third consciousness in even the smallest degree? What then? You know, like, are you willing to sacrifice if he has even the slightest chance of the spark of the divine in his soul? Why would you risk it? And basically, somebody in the future will make a Data. You know, they'll replicate Soong's work without killing Data to do it. And then, you know, we'll be judged by how we fucking treat those. And that's a big plot line in the Picard series. And seeing this episode of this and how this lays the groundwork for stuff that becomes important like 40 years of TV later, I think that's pretty cool. And the big trump card is Starfleet was founded to seek out new life, and there it is. You know, and boom, what happens, Al?
I mean, she has no choice but to be like, well, he is technically a person.
He's definitely not property. Data has
he's not property. He has the, what is it called? The independence. He has
agency.
Agency, excuse me. That's what I meant. The agency to refuse your experiments.
Maddox comes around and he even says, he's like, I see it there. It's looking at me. What is it? I'm not competent or qualified enough to answer these questions. And then it's like, well, yeah, so... Or no, she says, I see it looking at me, and I can't tell what it is, and I'm not competent enough to decide. And it's just like... Yeah, no Picard, shit,
dude. Picard kind of like, what is it? He kind of like leads her on with him saying like, well... Here's your chance to make law. Hope you make the right decision.
He does exactly what Guinan did to him. He leads her to her own decision of it being the correct decision. And then Maddox is just in love with Data. We find out that's why he wanted to take him apart. Just loves. He's remarkable. And he calls him he, not it. And then Picard and Philippa have a little romantic moment where he invites her to dinner. That's problematic as hell for you to just go out with the judge that just ruled in your favor on a thing. Like, you don't care how that looks. Riker has no right to be at... Riker thinks he has no right to be at Data's going away party. Data comes in and he's like... Riker's like looking pensively out a window. And Data says, hey, you know, we're having a welcome home party. And he goes... Riker's like, I have no right to be there. I'm such a genius. I came this close to winning, Data. I almost cost you your life. And Data says, is it not true that had you refused, the judge said she would have just thrown me away? And he goes, yes. And he goes, well, I think you probably did a good job. And that's when Riker says,
well, you helped out. I mean, somewhat. You did your best.
Without
you did what you had to do.
They would have just given me to Maddox for him to, let's be honest, he's going to do sex stuff to me for sure. Definitely. And this is when Riker says, you're a wise man, Data. And that's it. End of what I think to be a fantastic episode. Good. I love the courtroom stuff. They do such a great job. They make Maddox so purely hateable and disgusting, dude. He's just a monster. How often he calls him it. And also, you know, with personhood and agency and everything happening with trans folks and shit right now, like this episode, it's super hard. I really liked it. What about you?
I just thought it was like there was no B plot. It was a nice finality, I feel, to this whole like
the debate
bullshit question of, is Data a person? Is he not a person? I think what was funny too was the Judge and Picard's relationship, and how like when they first saw each other, it was funny. It was like, damn, it's been so long. It's been like 10 years. And she goes like, whoa, or Picard's like, it's been so long, you know, like, what the first thing I do to you is? And she's like, you'd probably hit me with a chair. And he's like, no, after that. And she's like, oh yeah, isn't love so crazy? And I was like, what kind of fucking crazy relationship do they have?
I just want you to hit me with a chair, Picard, and then fuck me on a pool table. Is this the Old West? Oh my God.
Like all this passive aggressive stuff.
And
but
I couldn't really tell why they loved each other either. Like you couldn't really tell.
Right?
Like it's sort of unearned. Like were they in love and then she did the Stargazer thing and it all went south?
Or maybe they're both stickler for rules and stuff.
But I'm all in for the philosophy on this. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I just felt like it took a while to get to the court proceedings, but I liked how. Yeah, you're right. It just got like really mental. This was like a very mentally heavy episode.
I love the bomb drop at the beginning when the Admiral's like, yeah, he's here to work on your android. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
work on my android?
Like,
that's my officer.
So
it's my helmsman, bro.
Passed. And yeah, we've
Commander
already had a
bro.
Season. And we've already had a season to like get comfortable with Data and like understand all the bullshit he has to go through.
And they've had years with him.
Yeah, that's true. Years with him. But I feel too, though, that whole like slippery slope of like,
it is a slippery slope. It's
definitely
generate
like a whole race of people and like command them to do whatever we want. And I don't know. It's just funny that like nobody had that foresight except for Guinan. Maybe that's just like what the writer did and what the script calls for.
I think that even though I'm a very PC person, I don't know that I would have necessarily gotten there, but I just love how this episode is so much of just leading people to making the correct choice.
Yeah, that is true.
By presenting them with the facts. It's straightforward as hell. So what are we using for our gauge on this one? There's not really an item in it.
Data arms.
Yeah. How many Data hands do you give this scale of 1 to 5?
This wasn't like, wow, perfect, but I would say like 4.25.
You think this was better than the one we did last week?
Yeah,
I think this was that much better than A Matter of Honor?
Because I feel like A Matter of Honor just like had a nice balance of the cheese and the sci-fi-ness.
Sure, okay.
Whereas this episode's like very gritty, stern, specific sci-fi. Like it's less campy. I feel like it's a little more serious.
4.25.
Yeah.
Well, I'm giving it a 4. Because I think it's like exactly as good as Matter of Honor.
I thought it was just slightly better. Like,
well,
I know their intent with this episode.
Yeah, I know which number
like,
bigger.
This one's going to be here to stay.
Well, it is an IMDb. It is an IMDb top-rated episode, so that makes sense. So let me put
like the finality of just finally getting over
Data's a person.
Question.
Everybody, shut up about it. Jesus Christ!
It feels like a silly trope, you know, that they're finally killing off. And
Absolutely.
now it's like, now that we're over that, we can get to more interesting adventures with the crew, you know?
Yas. All right. Good. 4.25 from you, 4 from me. You did a good job remembering stuff about Arena. That was our discussion of A Measure of a Man, which brings us to our final segment of the week, as it always do. Captain, Adam and Al are recommending things. I repeat, Adam and Al are recommending things. I'm keeping it easy, and I'm going to recommend Shin Godzilla, the movie that I'm going to watch after we record. It's basically like Godzilla directed by the guy who directed Evangelion, and it is sort of like, what if David Cronenberg made a Godzilla? And it's fucking great.
Yeah, that's very, very to the point.
Yeah, Al, I'd seen it when I was, when it first came out at least once with a buddy, and then Al kind of returned me onto it even before -1 came out, and we're covering it for the other pod.
It was because -1 was on its way, right? And
Probably.
I was like,
you should watch Shin Godzilla.
Yeah. And then we talked about Shin, and I was like, yeah, you got to watch Shin.
So fucking good, dude. And I'm looking for. Have you seen the black and white version? They did a monochromatic one. On my buddy's Plex. He like
the minus chromatic one. I was thinking of Shin still.
No, there is Shin still. There's a black and white Shin as well.
Okay, hell yeah.
But my buddy asked me to he was like, hey, can you I'm trying to free up some space on the Plex. Can you trim your watch list? And I was like, absolutely. And then I said, hey, I know you just asked me to trim my watch list, but can you put 4K Shin Godzilla on there for me? Because I'd really like to watch that shit in 4K for the podcast. And he was like, yeah, the file's huge, but you're only gonna have it on there for a day or whatever. So I'm looking forward to watching 4K Shin Godzilla after I chill and maybe go try and find another Godzilla energy drink, because that's what we're comparing it to. What about you? What are you recommending for this week, Al?
Let's see. I was just amped up from the action of that last episode, the Honor one with the Klingons. There's this movie. I don't know if I recommended it before, but it's called The Raid: Redemption.
Yeah, The Raid.
It came out in 2011.
Yeah, I love it. It's fucking amazing.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. I don't know. We were just watching this crazy, we were watching Fast and Furious, my fiance and I, and it was the James Wan one.
Look out, ladies. He's taken all the women that listen to this drooling over Al and I. We're both off the market.
And no, it was funny because we were watching, it was very James Wan coded, right? It was Vin Diesel with a giant wrench and a metal bar, a tire iron thing. And then it was what's that guy's name? He's that English dude who's the transporter.
Oh yeah, Jason
Statham. And he had his fist or something, or a weapon, or the rock. I don't know. They were just fighting. But I was like, oh, we should just watch an actual really good sequence fight. And I just put on The Raid. But it was funny because we were on a high, from watching this cheesy Fast and Furious stuff. But The Raid's just pure grit, just amazing. Brutal beginning to end.
Yeah,
and there's a very specific scene that sets the tone. And as soon as that scene happened, we were just completely silent.
Yeah, dude.
But it's a good movie.
I saw that in the theater, and I'm pretty sure I saw it when it was just The Raid, before they added the Redemption, before they released it in the US. But yeah, that's directed by Gareth Evans, who does all those new Godzilla movies.
Yeah, dude.
That's fucking crazy. He also did let's see here.
I'm pretty sure I saw there was a sequel, but I haven't seen that yet, so.
Hold on a second. I think I was wrong. He's not the.
Oh yeah, but anyways,
I was thinking of Adam.
This is really cool.
One moment, I was thinking of Adam Wingard. This guy directed The Raid, Raid Redemption, something on VHS 2, a bunch of pulpy stuff. So yeah, continue. You're talking about The Raid. You love it?
Oh no, just the plot's just really clever. It's a bunch of a SWAT team goes into this apartment building, and the landlord's a drug kingpin, and he's like, "Hey, I'll take a year off your rent for each copy kill."
Yeah.
And of course, given the times, everybody's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a RoboCop wasteland without RoboCop or Judge Dredd kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like Dredd, yeah. Because doesn't Dredd take all place in apartment building?
So that Dredd movie that came out was it very much smacks of this movie. That director was very much aware of this shit, because it is
It's
so
just the
similar.
shots
Yeah.
and the color scheme of
Well, there are two cops
different
that are
shades of
stuck in a
gray.
building and they have to get to the top. But at the top of Dread, it's Lena Headey taking a slow motion drug.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like it feels like kind of feels like a video game, where it's like there's a clear objective, there's clear
It's
barriers
great.
to go through.
It's very much
exciting,
it's
well paced.
It's very put together in exactly that way for a reason. So,
Yes.
so I'm recommending. Oh no, I was saying like that's why it's so good. It's machine tight. You're absolutely correct. I couldn't agree with you more. So you're recommending Gareth Edward Evans is The Raid, aka Raid Redemption. And what did I recommend? Al, what do you remember? Hold on,
It was the
What does Al
TV
remember?
show?
Huh.
Oh no, Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla. See, I knew that the whole time. That was a test. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Come on back next week when we are obviously going to be discussing the Dauphine, which is the next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Hey, do all the stuff in the bumper. Like, subscribe, give us a review. Help us out. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
155. Trek in the Valley is brought to you by Adam Ordall Quinnell and Al Hirt. The theme was produced by Al. The episodes are engineered by Adam. You can email the podcast at trekinthevalley@gmail.com, or you can search for us on Blue Sky and Facebook as Trek in the Valley and follow us over there. Please be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, whatever you do on your podcast apps. It really helps us out. And never forget, always explore strange new fucking worlds.